Let me ask you this question. How many of you know some people that they just like to brag about something they're really good at? Right? You got some people, how many of you know they're in this room? Some of you are like, yeah. It's like, Gannon bragging about he can beat me in football and stuff, or he's faster than me. It's not true. But how many of you know some people that they measure their success, they measure their, maybe just who they are as a person, and even measure their strength by what they can do? Let me give you an example. Like, I can dunk better than you, right? Or I can dunk. I can't dunk unless there's a trampoline. Then that increases my chances. But Michael, can you go ahead and hand me that? Because that's going to get annoying for me. Thank you, sir. Y'all give it up for Michael. Check. Awesome. Much better. It was weird not having this in my hand anyway. So I was like, what to do with the right hand? But how many of you know some people that you're like, man, I can play this instrument better than you, right? How many band people we got in here? Yeah, we got band people in here. You have some people that like, bro, I can play the flute way better than you. Like, I don't know. Is that the flute? Is that the flute? What? Okay, everybody give your best flute impersonation. 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, y'all are awful. Don't make fun of me. All right. Outside of that, but maybe you're like, maybe some of you know some fellas in here that, man, I remember like in middle school and high school, the like thing to brag on is like, I can get more girls than you. I'm like, well, first off, why do you so you mean you can't keep a girl? You ever think about that? Like, everybody bragging, I get more girls than you. It's like, dude, you recognize that's probably not great for long-term health, longevity. Just start talking really in like extensive vocabulary. Do you think this is going to be beneficial and advantageous for the rest of your life? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I learned advantageous, the word, last year. So thank you. Pastor Jenny taught me that one. But you have people that say, man, I can do this. I can do that. Maybe it's I can lift more than you, lift more weights than you. Maybe I can buy whatever I want, right? I can do blank. And even us, we take pride in the special abilities that we have that we can do better than anybody else, right? I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. And we have this I can attitude, like I can do this, I can do that. And some of you are maybe asking, how does this relate to our series, Walk It Like I Talk It? And our world has this perception that freedom, significance, identity, and your strength in this life is solely identified by the things that you can do. Let me say that again. That the world has a perception that freedom, significance, identity, and your strength in this life is identified by the things that you can do. And we have this kind of mindset within our culture that, man, your only strength is just what you have the ability to do. To be a sports person, to be a band person, to be a gymnastics person, right? And that's our sole identity of what we can do. That's what we're expected to lean on as our strength. But can I tell you, to walk out your faith does require strength. But it's just not about your strength. It's just not about what you can do, how you can perform in this area of your life. And I want to suggest this thought tonight. And if you're taking notes, which I encourage you to take notes, we have an honor system here. Just put your phone on airplane mode or do not disturb, but take some notes tonight. But I want to challenge us and encourage you with this thought. And the thought is this, that true strength, everybody say true strength. True strength is not measured by what you can do, but what you don't have to do. We'll dive into this thought a little bit more. But true strength is not measured by what you can do, but what you don't have to do. The title of my message tonight is called True Strength. True Strength. And I want to look at this passage, and we're going to stay in this passage a little bit throughout the entirety of our time together tonight. And the passage is found in 1 Corinthians 6:12. And to give you context about 1 Corinthians, Paul, you guys have probably heard about Paul. He's wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. He has sent a letter to the people in the city of Corinth. And what is happening in this city at this time is they have gone wild. People that are supposed to be followers of Jesus have gone nuts and basically have lived with the premise that now that I follow Jesus, it doesn't matter anymore what I do. And what is happening, there is a bunch of sexual immorality that's happening. Everybody's sleeping with everybody. It's just gone crazy. And so Paul is addressing them, and he says something profound in a statement to the church of Corinth. And that's what we're going to pick up here tonight in 1 Corinthians 6, verse 12. And it says this: everything is permissible for me. This is Paul speaking. But not everything is beneficial. Everything is permissible for me, but I will not be mastered by anything. Let me say that again. Everything is permissible for me, but not everything is beneficial. Permissible meaning that I can do it, I have the ability to do it, but it's not necessarily beneficial. He continues, everything is permissible for me, says it again, but I will not be mastered by anything. There's something we need to understand when we're looking at this and we're reading the text. So let's understand the culture, right? Because Paul's addressing the people back then, but we're going to talk about a timeless truth that applies to us right now. The Greeks, understanding them, they looked down upon their body. They had a proverb saying, like a proverb of wisdom saying, that said that their body was a tomb. So they didn't look at their bodies as something to be like, man, to take care of or to care about anything with, right? They were more focused on the soul side of things. But here is what Paul is trying to bring to their attention. They valued their soul and discounted this life in their body. But Paul is trying to bring to their attention that what you're doing with your body and how you are going about your life is corrupting the soul that you value. Right? He's saying, in other words, that there's distance that's happening between you and God when you think that the time that you have here on this earth is meant for you just to do whatever you want because your soul is going to be carried off somewhere at the end anyway. And Paul is saying that this is kind of some bad theology. That this is actually creating a distance between you and God. In other words, they had this mindset that, man, I follow Christ now, but I can do whatever I want here on this earth because I'm going to rejoin him back in heaven. They were sinning and thinking that was, then they were like, well, I can just do whatever I want now. And what was permissible, especially in the city of Corinth at this time, was not beneficial for their walk with Christ. And can I tell you this, you are living in a time right now, in this time period, in 2022, that is so different. I literally was having a conversation with one of the teachers at Southridge yesterday, and he was just talking about how it's just crazy that things are just so different. And we started just exchanging just these thoughts about what is different. He grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and like he's looking now and it's like, man, what is happening? There used to be people that were on fire with the Lord, that were following him, that were taking action steps to draw closer to him. But now we have in his eyes, he's like, we have a generation that is aware of who Jesus is, but doesn't understand what it means to actually follow. And here is why, because you're living in a time where it is permissible for you to do whatever you want. It is permissible for you to act upon every feeling that you have. It is permissible for you to do whatever you want, when you want. It's permissible within our culture for you to say that you're a Christian, meaning follower of Jesus. But guess what? It's permissible for no one to hold you with any expectation for you to demonstrate what that truly means for your life. You're living in a time where everything Everybody's cool with anything that you do. And what this starts to happen is if we adopt that mindset, that idea, then man, we start to steer away from what God is trying to do in our lives, from what God may want to speak to us. Just because it may be permissible, just because people say, man, you can do this, we aren't gonna judge you, man, you can act upon this feeling, just because you're in a time where you can literally do, a lot of you, whatever you want, when you want. But what may be permissible and allowed in this life may not be beneficial for your life. And so let's really dive into this thought. See, true strength, if you haven't wrote it down, write it down, is not measured by what you can do, but what you don't have to do. True strength is not measured by what is permissible, by what you can brag about, what you can do this, that, think this way, feel this way. It's not about what you can do on your own, but what you don't have to do. So let's really tackle this question. What does it look like to have true strength? And just one point tonight, and it's this. Stop trying to lift what you were never meant to carry. Stop trying to lift what you were never meant to carry. For many of you know, like, kind of my upbringing is I was in a private school all the way up to 6th grade. 6th grade, middle of 6th grade, both my parents lost their jobs. We had to get out of private school, and I went to public school for the first time. And oh my goodness, like when I talk about, it's not like private school now these days. Like private school, I feel like are just the equivalent to public schools most of the time, right? Like just some of the stuff I'm hearing, I'm like, okay. Like this is the private school where like girls only wore like skirts. We had to wear button-ups. I didn't know a cuss word. Like I was like sheltered and oblivious to the world. And I come to middle school and I'm like, oh my goodness, a whole new world. Yeah, it's just so different, right? And I found myself in a position where I was trying to figure out, man, how do I fit in? How do I kind of blend in with this new group of people that I find myself around? Because no longer am I surrounded by a bunch of Christians, per se, or in an environment that holds to a certain level of a Christian standard of what it means to follow Jesus. But I'm out in the world where there's no standard, where no one's holding me to expectation. I'm out in a world where everything seems to be permissible. And for many of them, they thought it was beneficial. But I remember I had a longing to fit in. And so a lot of that looked like me trying to, cuss with a bunch of people just because I was learning all these new words. I didn't know what half of them meant. I told my mom one word that I learned because I didn't know it was a cuss word. I got popped so hard. It was like crazy. I was like, hey, Mom, blank. What? What did you just say? Yeah, that didn't go over well. So, but I remember just trying to cuss to fit in with the group. I remember I used to have just this fake persona where, I would try to walk different. I would try to lower my voice. I would try to just give this persona that, I can fit in with anybody. I can take on anybody. Try to give that persona to people, right? And then I was trying to, in my middle school and early high school years, I was like, okay, what does it mean to keep a relationship with a girl? And then what I have seen throughout my time just being in the world and being within public school, it's like, okay, so we need to push physical boundaries, right? To be able to keep people, and which is totally not right, totally incorrect. But this is what is being fed to me, is what is permissible, but is actually not beneficial to my faith and to helping grow the faith of others that are around me. And what I found is, as a follower of Christ, I started putting weights in my life that I needed to be this type of person. I need to be that type of person. I need to walk this way, talk this way, in order for me to either be accepted, to experience love, to be able to have friends, whatever it may be. But can I tell you, I was ultimately just adding plates to this bar. And some of y'all are like, Josh, you about to lift that? We'll see. We'll see how my back, and I don't have the stretchy shorts. These are kind of tight. So, especially coming back from Mexico, all you can eat buffets start to get you after a while. But ultimately, I was adding plates. And what is happening for so many of us right now, we're having troubles walking out our faith because we're adding different plates to our life, right? Again, you want to come up here really quick? Quick, man, quick. Come on. Y'all give it up for Gannon. I was literally about to throw this microphone at you if you took the stairs. I was like, all right. After thinking it over, I think it better be you that lifts this. But here's what happens. A lot of times, we're adding on a plate of pride because I don't want to be real with anybody. I just want to be fake. I want to have my mean girl look. I want to have my tough guy look. And I put this weight on here. And this is what it looks like to be strong, right? For no one to ever really know what's going on. So I'm going to be fake. I'm going to look like this. I'm going to walk in a certain way that inserts my alpha dominance in a room so no one checks me, right? I'm speaking to somebody in here tonight. Some of y'all are like, oh God, right? So I'm putting that plate on, right? I'm putting another plate on where, man, I just have to cross the boundaries in a relationship because that's the only way I'm going to keep it. And so I'm going to add this plate that I need to hold because that's what I need to do, right? That's how I'm going to walk out this life because that's what provides security, okay? And then you start adding on these different plates. But here's the thing. Gannon, you want to go ahead and, these are 4 45-pound plates on either side. Gannon, go ahead and lift. And hold it as long as you can, please. Yeah, thank you. Here's what happens. We lift. We take on this attitude. We take on this mindset. And we want everything. And this is, because this is permissible in our culture. Do whatever you want. Feel it, like act upon every feeling that you have. And we take upon this attitude and we're holding it. And guess what happens? You start to get tired. Oh, don't worry, Aaron. It didn't hurt the stage. I got you. I see you back there. See, you get tired. And here's the thing. What happens after you do that for a little bit? Many of you are starting to figure out when you put it down, that's where you have a little bit of a mental breakdown, right? Of just like, this isn't working. This isn't. Why do I keep ending up back here? This was supposed to be, everything's supposed to work in a certain way, right? This is what's permissible in our culture. This is what I am supposed to do. And so what you do again is you put more plates and you're like, man, I'm going to still dabble with sin. I'm going to say that I'm a Christ follower, but I'm still going to add on to the things of this world, not really walk it necessarily, because I find that strength comes from really doing what everybody else is doing, fitting in, posting whatever suggestive photos I need to get attention, and then going back to the same idea. Come on. And then you lift again. There we go. You lift again, and then it's starting to get a little bit heavier after you're lifting. So, yeah, you go ahead and put it down. Yep. Awesome. And you start finding yourself, you keep doing the same things over and over again. Favorite quote from Einstein, doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results is the actual definition of insanity. And if you're thinking you're going to walk out your faith in Christ, if you think you're going to exhibit the fruits of the Spirit, peace, joy, love, patience, kindness, all of that by your own strength, by allowing what is permissible in culture to be what is your identity and what you live out, then you're going to find yourself getting tired over and over and over again and still coming back to the same conclusion that I'm empty, that I'm missing something. You're still coming back to anxiety, still coming back to depression, still coming back to suicidal thoughts. And it's because you're coming back to the world's way, coming back to what the world views as strength of what you should do, what's permissible in this life, instead of not relying on your own strength, but relying on the strength of someone that already took the pain, that already took the pressure that you would ever deal with on their back 2,000 years ago. Come on, check this out. Stay with me. See, this may be permissible in your family's life. Some of you have family that this is, the only time you come to church is why? Because your family doesn't really care, either one way or the other. And so you find yourself doing this more because your family doesn't really care. Some of you are a little bit more sneaky. You got parents that want to just kick you upside the head. And you're like, well, I'm just going to sneak and do whatever. Talk to who I want to talk to on Snap. Do what I need to do at school. But what you don't realize is this is creating a distance between yourself and your Creator, the one who made you, the one that has given us avenues where we don't have to rely on our own strength, but rely on His. See, instead of adding plates and lifting the weight, how about this? How about we let it go? Check this out. Can you hold it for can you give me 30 seconds holding it? Yeah. See, he's gonna hold it. There we go. And hold on, wait before you left. Hayden, come here really quick. And Devin, where are you at? Do you mind helping me really quick? Go ahead, here we go. Get on one side. And here's what I want to have happen. So I'm gonna lift